There's no doubt about it. Harvest time on the prairies is an awesome experience. Mighty machines, in perfect sync, dot the landscape at all hours of the clock until the job is done. Out here, there's little chance of gridlock on your daily commute, especially when you live and work on a family farm. Let's head north and east along the highways and range roads about 30 minutes. Before you know it, we've arrived at the Wright-Angle Farm.
I'm Leonard Wright. I'm a third-generation farmer in the Wright district.
And I'm Curtis Wright, the fourth-generation farmer on the Wright farm.
My grandpa came to this farm. He came in 1919 and married my grandma, who lived 3 miles down the road. My mom and dad are still here, my wife and I, and my son and his wife, and 2 grandkids. So there's 4 generations living on our farm right now. My son and I farm together, and my dad is semi-retired, but in his 80s, still helping almost every day.
And every day is different, with a to-do list that seems to be as big as the sky itself. This mixed farming operation requires non-stop attention that includes everything from taking care of livestock to this, testing the moisture content of their grain.
One of the things about being on a family farm like we are is the best thing about it is you're with family all the time, and the worst thing about it is you're with family all the time.
We wake up in the morning, different houses. We all live in different houses. We intervene at the shop. We come up with a day's plan of what we're going to do that day, what needs to be repaired, what doesn't, what crop needs to go in.
The great part about farming, and the thing that keeps me interested, is every day is different.
And no 2 minutes are the same when you climb on board one of these colossal tools of the trade.
Combine operating comes as a seniority. You've put your dues in being the trucker when you were younger. He runs the combine, I run the truck. And it used to be the same with my grandfather. He ran the combine, Dad ran the truck.
We were harvesting hard red spring wheat. We were just getting started, and some of the attachments on the combine were new, and I wasn't running them quite right. Also, we were just changing from another crop, so we were checking a lot to see how the combine was working, making sure it wasn't throwing too much over and that we had our settings right. You don't want to be throwing a bunch of grain on the ground that you'd spent all year growing and raising. Kind of old school, but got to make sure the machinery's running right, and you got to get dirty to do it.
Well, you're looking for throwover, cracks, all that stuff has to do with setting it. If your rotor's too fast, you can start to crack it. If your sieves and chaffer aren't set right, which is where the grain is sifted away from the raw material that comes out the back, if you have too much coming out the back, you're just basically throwing your money right out.
Took longer than usual, but we finally got it, so we were happy with the result, and we carried on. And this year was not a bumper crop, but a fairly good crop, and we're done earlier than I remember in years.
So we've got a couple bins behind us, one 10,000 and a couple other little ones to finish the fields off full of peas.
Here we do a grain farming. We do oil seeds, canola. We've done flax. We do cereal grains. We've been 23 years of continuous pea growing, and I use them as part of my rotation. We don't have a lot of cattle, but range anywhere from 70 head to 100 head of cows. I worked off the farm for the part-time for the first 20 years of my farming career, and now that I'm farming with my son, he works off the farm quite a bit.
Being a family farm, smaller farm, the retirement part is hard, so Grandpa was still involved, Dad's still involved, so my deal is I've got a trucking company, and the biggest part of the trucking company is my 95 Pete that has a 28 self-loading and unloading round bale picker on it. And some farmers don't feel that it's cost-effective for them to take 2 tractors, one on either end, and drive truck in between picking their bales. I can do it all myself, loading and unloading. The truck does it all itself. They don't need to be around.
We got done harvest quite early and found that I have some Canada thistle spots, and next year I want to put peas on there.
So to help fight the war with weeds, Leonard pilots a self-propelled high-clearance sprayer that allows him to drive right into a standing crop.
Peas and Canada thistle don't mix so well. Canada thistle likes to just come up through peas like crazy, so a little shot of spray this fall, and we'll get that under control, and it'll be a lot cleaner crop for next year.
I've got 2 boys now. I'll honestly say right now that it'd be hard for both of them to farm. We're not big enough. I would like my boys to farm with me like I'm farming with my dad and my dad with his. But the problem is that if my kids wanted to farm big, I guess later on you'd have to sell the farm and maybe move to northern Alberta or Saskatchewan. That might be the only way. I don't want it to be that way, but things are changing.
The Wright-Angle Farm is keeping pace with the changing rural environment by planning and investing for the future.
We've upgraded a little bit more machinery. We've stepped it up a little bit. We're trying to show people that we're not slouching. We're hoping that if land does come available, that they know that we're interested. We're doing everything that we can to get big enough to accommodate a little bit more. I've worked for guys that are 20,000 acres. I don't want to be that big. I just want to have a happy little family-run farm with my dad, and if I have to truck a little bit, so be it. I'd sure like to see more family farms still sticking around, trying to stick it out. But I do know that it is very hard.
Retirement's fairly hard. Number 1 is you're here, you might as well work. And number 2, I've got no role models to watch retire, because my dad's still in his 80s and isn't retired.
You can't beat the family farm in any way. To where we're sitting right now, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love it here. It's home.
The connection between the family and farm is a time-honored tradition, and it's clear that the Wright-Angle Farm has the right stuff to carry on for many years.